In my last video, I analyzed whether or not runs differential had any correlation with World Series champions in baseball. So I decided to do the same thing with a far more volatile sport known as hockey. I used goals differential all the way back to 2003 to the present day and see if there's any correlation between the best goals differential and the Stanley Cup champions. So let's see the results, shall we? In 2003, the Ottawa Senators led the league with a goals differential of plus 81. 2004, it was Ottawa again with a goals differential of plus 73. In 2005, we did not have a season because Gary Bettman decided to be a ripe cunt. Go fuck yourself, Gary Bettman. In 2006, it was the Ottawa Senators for a third straight season, this time with a goals differential of plus 103. In 2007, it was the Ottawa Senators with a goals differential of plus 67. You would think, considering this is their fourth straight season, that they won a Stanley Cup at least once in this era, but I will not spoil it for you in case you are ignorant. In 2008, the Detroit Red Wings had the best goals differential in the league with a plus 73. In 2009, the Boston Bruins had a goals differential of plus 79, which led the NHL. In 2010, the Washington Capitals led the league with a plus 85 goals differential. In 2011, the Vancouver Canucks led the league with a plus 77. In 2012, the Boston Bruins led with a plus 67. In 2013, the NHL season was shortened. Thanks again, Gary Bettman, you fucking cunt. Even so, the Chicago Blackhawks had the best goals differential with plus 53. The 2014 season saw the Boston Bruins lead the league with a goals differential of plus 84. In 2015, it was the New York Rangers with plus 60. In 2016, it was the Washington Capitals with a plus 59. In 2017, it was the Washington Capitals again with a plus 81. In 2018, it was the Tampa Bay Lightning with a plus 60. And then in 2019, you had a historic season by the Tampa Bay Lightning where they had a goals differential of plus 103. In 2020, the season was canceled. Well, canceled. I'd rather say postponed, and then brought into an early playoff with a bubble system. Even so, the Boston Bruins led the league with a goals differential of plus 63 in 68 games. In 2021, we had 4 different divisions that did not play each other. So, you had the Canadian division, the East, the South, and the West. And then you didn't have any interdivision play, and the season was shortened to 53 games. So there's also reason to not take this with a grain of salt, but even so, Vegas led the league with a plus 67 goals differential. In 2022, the Florida Panthers led the league with a plus 94 goals differential. In 2023, you had a historic winning season by the Boston Bruins where they had a goals differential of plus 128, which is 25 more goals than the already historic Tampa Bay Lightning with plus 103. In 2024, the Florida Panthers led the league with a plus 68 goals differential, and in 2025, the Winnipeg Jets led the league with a plus 85 goals differential. Now, here are the Stanley Cup champions from each preceding year. In 2003, New Jersey won the Stanley Cup with a plus 50 goals differential, which was 28 fewer goals than Ottawa had. In 2004, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 53. In 2005, just obligatory go fuck yourself, Gary. In 2006, the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 34. If you remember correctly, the Hurricanes that year were very high fly, had a very high fly, just all offense system, which is why their goals differential is so low. They allowed just as many goals as they scored. In 2007, the Anaheim Ducks won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 50. In 2008, the Detroit Red Wings led the league and won a Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 73. In 2009, the Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 25. And that was mainly because Sidney Crosby got a massive concussion mid-season that knocked him out for most of the season. With that, you had to have Evgeny Malkin pretty much just take over. In 2010, the Chicago Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup with a plus-minus of 62. In 2011, the Boston Bruins won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 51. In 2012, the Los Angeles Kings won the Stanley Cup with a plus 15 goals differential. Really goes to show how just getting a goalie in the playoffs in the right moment can really carry you. In 2013, we had a lockout-shortened season where the Chicago Blackhawks led the league and won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 53. In 2014, the Los Angeles Kings won again with a goals differential of plus 32, much better than last time. However, their captain, Dustin Brown, was having some personal issues that kept him out for extensive periods, where he even got stripped of his captaincy, and it was given to Andrzej Kopitar. In 2015, the Chicago Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup for a third year with a goals differential of plus 40. In 2016, the Pittsburgh Penguins won their second Stanley Cup in 7 years with a goals differential of plus 42. And then in 2017, they repeated, this time with a goals differential of plus 48. In 2018, the Washington Capitals finally slayed the Demon and won their first Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 20. In 2019, the St. Louis Blues entered the playoffs very hot and rode that momentum to a Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 24. In 2020, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 50. In 2021, the Tampa Bay Lightning repeated, this time with a goals differential of plus 34. In 2022, the Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 78. In 2023, the Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 43. In 2024, the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup with a goals differential of plus 68, and they also led the league that year, ever so slightly, but it is true. So, with this sample size, only 3 teams both led the league in goals differential and won a Stanley Cup. So, considering that was a 23-year sample, you can pretty much set your watch to the fact that if you lead the league in goals differential, you're probably not going to win a Stanley Cup. The NHL playoffs is just a beast in its own right, where just patent unfairness is the name of the game. One wrong bounce here or there, and your season's over. It's absolutely ridiculous, but we wouldn't have it any other way because we're hockey fans and we're goddamn sickos. Ain't that right? My name's Trey McGathan, and I'll be seeing you soon.